Concurrent with the development of straight-up strings for banjo and mandolin, we've been working on strings for the acoustic steel string guitar. For instruments like the banjo and mandolin, the strings are anchored to a tailpiece, and the bridge places a downward pressure on the soundboard, or head in the case of the banjo. To achieve optimum tone, balance, sustain on these instruments, we developed sets of strings that compensate for where the strings sit on the bridge relative to the bridge's feet, as well as compensating the individual down pressure loads relative to neighboring strings. But the guitar's bridge functions differently. On the acoustic guitar, the strings are attached to the bridge, and the tension of all of the strings is arrested at the bridge's base. Here the strings impose a torque or twisting load at the bridge that is evidenced by the typical hump behind the bridge and the small depression or hollow in front of the bridge. This model shows how the guitar bridge works. As the strings are brought up to pitch, they pull at the bridge and load the soundboard. When the strings are played, the sideway motion of the strings severely impacts the string's tension, which causes the bridge to rock back and forth on its center axis, in turn driving the soundboard to produce sound. Here, the torque load of each of the strings at the bridge plays a critical role. Imagine for a moment that we have three strings. The centermost string has a 10-pound pull, and each of its neighbors has a 20-pound pull. It's pretty easy to see that the centermost string at 10 pounds would be quickly overpowered by its two neighbors and not be able to drive the bridge with equal efficiency. So critical to our development was to determine the precise quarter wrap wire combinations for our strings and not just go by gauge alone. Because for wound strings, gauge is really meaningless. Here's an example. We might have a 40,000 string that is actually made up of a 20,000 core wire with a 10,000 wrap wire. Since the wrap wire goes around the core wire, the wrap wire gets measured or counted twice. So a 10,000th wrap with a 20,000 core and the additional 10,000 wrap wire adds up to 40,000. We can also make a similar 40,000 string with a 22,000 core and a 9,000 wrap wire. The 9,000th wrap plus the 22,000th core and the 9,000th wrap again adds up to 40,000. Typically, strings are spec'd to 3 decimal places, as shown in the previous example. However, for the critical tensions in straight-up strings, we specify our strings to 4 decimal places. So after extensive and intensive research, we developed a series of guitar strings with compensated torque loads plotted through a bell-shaped curve that deliver balanced tone, sustain, feel, and amplitude. As a final step, we mapped the amplitudes of our strings against ISO 226-2003, the standard for the human perception of equal loudness. And from this analysis, we engineered unique quarter wrap wire combinations to develop the ultimate guitar string sets. It's clearly a first, and we call them straight-up strings for guitar, and you can hear every note of every chord. They come in light, medium, and heavy. Try them. Your fingers and your ears will know the difference.